And I think you look at those things and you say, okay, let's say my hypothetical growth rate is, let's say 50%. I want to grow 50% next year as a business. I know that's a lot, but is this channel capable of getting me to 50%, right? Is this something that's has that potential? Or is this a 20% channel, or is it a 100% channel, right? I think thinking about those bets as saying, hey, what's the potential of this? How much could it scale? How much bigger can it be? That's sort of the first question that we think about when we look at some of those areas. Not every channel has potential for more scale, and you don't need every channel to be a high growth one. You want some to be solid bets that are going to be consistent. But I think that sort of that thinking of, is this going to be bigger, smaller, or the same a year from now, is probably the right categorization to start saying, okay, where do I want to put some of the bigger bets in place?
That's really good. So and when you talk about percentages, it's basically how much of the pipeline that you are to deliver that it can take, or how is it?
Yeah, I think about year over year. Like, so if my team's target year over year is 50% growth, for example, whatever metric I pick, MQLs or revenue or ROA, I don't know, whatever you want to do. So I look at that channel and I say, can this segment do 50% more? Can this channel do 50% more? Can this piece do that? And you probably have a pretty good idea, right? You'll probably have historicals. You might have some limitations. You might say, oh, we've maxed out review size. I don't think Capterra's got more volume that we can take, right? Like whatever those things are, and then you'll be able to kind of answer that question. But I think that really, you almost need to have the mindset of saying, like, is this investment a growth investment, like something that's going to exceed the curve that I'm trying to get to and I can put more into? Or is it a stable investment? Like, it's going to do well, it's going to grow a little bit, but it probably isn't going to make my number by itself. Or it might be a flat or declining one, which is fine too, right? Like, not every, marketers abuse every channel until it no longer works, right? So, they're going to have some things that are actually having diminishing returns. That's okay too. I think early on in the planning process, as you're trying to allocate budget, you almost need to understand what that looks like. And frankly, I've got people on my team coming to me saying, hey, like, how do I get more resources for this program? Like, how do I get more resources for more people resources, usually is the question, for this investment, for this channel, for this thing. And I say, how do we make the case for this to be a growth lever, right? Make the case that this thing can grow faster than the rest of our business. That's going to be the biggest thing that's going to help us determine if we can invest more resources into that or not.